Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dr. Carolyn Dean live here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting humankind with universal love, or as I like to say, uniting Dr. Carolyn Dean with the whole wide world. And what did Jackie Del Shannon say? What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Well, I don't know any sweeter love that comes from the very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. She is one of the most loving people I know, a giver of great gifts and great joy and great surprises and great health and wisdom and all those things in such a beautiful package. And she's an incredible nature photographer as well, but I digress. This is Ginny Sanders. I'll be your co-host tonight, along with the Dr. Carolyn Dean, the most magnificent. And we're going to be talking with you for the next 2 hours about the thing that matters most to you in the whole wide world. That's you. And if it doesn't, if you're not the thing that matters most to you, you might want to be that thing, because it's very important that you are putting your oxygen mask on first so that you can assist others who are in your purview, in your world, put on their oxygen mask, that mask of wellness, of longevity, of health, and also of being in a good mood. And tonight, that's what we're going to talk about is mood, how nutrition and how environmental factors actually influence your mood. And if you feel like you're a little shaky or out of control of that mood, how to get it right back on track and how to make it serve you and bring you the joy that you're entitled to have here on the face of the earth. It probably sounds like a tall order, especially if you're in a bad mood, but I know the one who can get it done, and that is our very own Dr. Dean. So I will say that this is not a medical advice show. We're not allowed to give medical advice according to the FDA and the AMA and the Elemental P and the QRS. But what we will do is we will tell you what we would do if you were in your position. And we've been in your position because we are on the face of the earth with you at this very present time, August 2nd, 2021. And we are experiencing what you're experiencing, maybe sometimes, and we can share with you the strategies that you need to have the joy that we experience. So I'm going to bring her on. Reminder, she is a medical doctor and a naturopath. She is the author of the #1 bestseller, The Magnesium Miracle, many free ebooks that she gives out to her customers, lots of Kindle books, lots of great content. She's the commentator on many shows. She has graced national television in many ways. She's one of the queens of the natural health movement, the health freedom movement, and certainly she is the queen of magnesium. And without further ado, I bring you the most delightful, the most lovely, and one of the most competent professional doctors there is on the face of the earth right now, full of wisdom and joy, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
There's the children, they're squeaking away in the background. Actually, Ginny, I've never listened to the archive of the beginning of the show, but you tell me that the children come across a little more robust, do they?
They do. They do.
I trust you. That's wonderful. Yeah, the children are special, and it's fun. You're talking about mood and being happy and all the rest of it. And yeah, I'm very blessed to lead a very happy life. And I know you too have a happy life. And sometimes it's hard for us to relate when we're having so much fun. There was only one time where I was depressed. It was when I found out in my practice up in Toronto, a 17-year-old patient of mine was killed by a hit and run drunk driver. And that was it. It's like, how do you, and how does his mother recover? Well, what his mother did was she started the Canadian chapter of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. That's what she did.
Right on.
So, that came out of it. But very often it is a happenstance, something in a person's world that brings down their mood. And our topic tonight is about mood. Ginny's given it the title. The title is In a Mood, Look to Nutrients for Support. So, as I said, I mean, when someone is depressed, we often know that there's a reason, or when someone becomes depressed or anxious, they try to figure out the reason why. People will keep themselves in a sad or depressed or guilty state to blame themselves for like a relationship breakup, having an affair, death in the family, job loss. It's like you don't want to appear like you're enjoying yourself when someone just died, for example, and you get yourself into a state where I'm going to show how much I love this person or how much, guilt I carry by being depressed. You can actually do that to yourself. And, I learned about that. I think there's a therapy that goes into that, but it just makes so much sense that, I don't want to be happy because such and such just happened. It would, look inappropriate, but you're just digging yourself into an early grave. But there can be these external things, but what if the reason is physical? And that's what we're getting into here. Tension and adrenaline rushes can happen from lack of magnesium, very specifically. Irritability can come from lack of the B vitamins or a lack of omega-3 fatty acids or vitamin D. At a certain point, if nutrition studies ever delve this far, if they ever get funding back to look at how our nutrients affect us, we may find out that just about every nutrient has some effect on our mood. So if you're looking for ways to improve your mood, now I'm going to the blog, and the blog is at carolyndeanlive.com on the homepage. You can follow it, or you got it in your email. If you're looking for ways to improve your mood, just like your physical health, your mental and emotional health are heavily influenced by having the basic building blocks of cellular health on the ready in your bloodstream and brain to make and sustain your mental health. And what are these building blocks? They're vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, and the common mood disorders easily recognized. And so where their causes are the following, and I've already started to mention this: anxiety and depression, magnesium and vitamin D deficiencies, B6, B12, folate deficiency related to cognition, memory loss, and anxieties, and magnesium as well. Dehydration can cause major mood swings along with fatigue, irritability, and headaches. Omega-3 fatty acids are necessary to create the cell membranes of your nerve cells in the body and the brain. So the neurons in the brain depend on fatty acids. We have a fatty brain. Zinc deficiency is clinically proven to play a significant role in depression. I consider that vitamin B6 deficiency and zinc deficiency are heavily related to postpartum depression. That's my first recommendation for women after pregnancy, or well, during pregnancy, they should be taking those nutrients. And other minerals such as calcium, chromium play supportive roles. Bottom line, hundreds of researchers around the world have found that the biological process of the body, as well as many aspects of the brain, require nutritional building blocks. If you're struggling with emotional imbalance, irritable moods, mental health challenges, you may try to cope by overeating, smoking, drinking alcohol, taking street drugs, or other addictive behaviors to distract yourself from your problems. We are a nation suffering with an increasing incidence of anxiety, depression, and drug problems. Yet, if you go to a doctor, instead of treating stress reactions properly with magnesium, millions of people are introduced to the merry-go-round of psychiatric drugs and psychological counseling for symptoms that may in fact be rooted in magnesium deficiency. How do we use vitamins and minerals to stabilize our mood and support our mental health and clarity? Jeannie's quoted me that the way to begin is to recognize your deficiencies and adjust accordingly. And recognizing them, it just kind of means, in a sense, to recognize that your diet really doesn't hold the nutrients that will support brain body functions. It just doesn't do that anymore, unfortunately. I mean, I'm working on that with the farm that I support here, trying to see how we can ramp up the soil, use our mighty mash, etc., to get our nutrients. But it still is not 100% that we can get all our nutrients from our diet. I really don't believe that's possible yet. I think it's, we have so much excess stress and strain that we're constantly burning through our nutrients. So continuing on, magnesium, vitamin C, and trace minerals will support the adrenal glands. Vitamin B, zinc, calcium, and magnesium have all been proven effective to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. Vitamin D, the sunshine in a bottle, has wonderful mood elevating benefits, and low potassium has been linked to mood changes and low energy levels. Other easy to do strategies include giving thanks for what you have, just being positive, being thankful for what we have and compared to others in the world, for example. Give thanks so that a negative outlook will actually attract negative outcomes. So giving thanks is a very positive way to get positive feedback. I mean, people who listen to my show, how I try to make it light, and I love to make our callers, chuckle a bit and have a little laugh. That to me is just so important. To me, it's kryptonite. Kryptonite is someone chuckling or smiling. When I'm out at the market, I work at the farmer's market 2 mornings a week. And it's just awesome to be able to talk with people and, make them smile and laugh. And people go away from that type of interaction and they pass it on. They leave you with a smile, and the next person they see, they smile at them, and then they get a smile back. It's totally addictive and catching. That's what we should be spreading, not viruses, but smiles. So continuing and finishing up the blog here, getting outside in the sun and getting fresh air are also important strategies. Practicing mindful movement. I'm not a sit-down meditator. I get my best work done with the angels, and everything in my mind just percolates when I'm taking my brisk morning walks. And that's where you're doing your deep breathing as well. And I say as well, do not listen to the news. You should shut off menacing media in your home and in your bedroom. Listening to the evening news while you eat or before you go to bed will keep your mind and body in a state of agitation that is simply not healthy. And it may be the first step to balanced mental health, just to switch off the media. So we do have a few questions, but I'm going to stop right there to ask Ginny what I've missed. Go ahead.
Yes, it's hard when you're naturally effortlessly joyful like you are to relate a lot to people who do have depression and who have a hard time talking themselves into being a positive influence. Carolyn, what do you think are some strategies for that besides nutrition? What kind of practices would you recommend?
I think we covered in the blog being grateful. I mean, I know, one of the young children of the farmer, I guess she's in her early teens, she went off for a little trip and came back and said how grateful she was to be living on the farm and to have what she has at the farm. So you go off for a different experience and you compare. They used to say that about young people when they travel to Europe or Asia, they come back and say, oh my gosh, thank goodness for America. And now we've got everybody complaining that, I don't know why, but if they even had an inkling of what it was like to live in, say, Cuba or Venezuela or Russia. I mean, I saw this video yesterday, I think, of this country in Siberia where they're living at minus 50 degrees, I think they said centigrade, where you throw a quart of boiling water in the air and it instantly becomes ice crystals. And people are living their lives there. You cannot drive a car there. You can't leave a car not running for more than a half an hour or everything freezes. So, I mean, and people are born there, so they're stuck there. They live there. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. So look around and see how fortunate you are on certain levels. But then there's that, actually, there's another instance I had. I had this feeling of impending doom when I went through menopause. I had a very stressful time when I was going through menopause. And I would just get this flash of impending doom. I thought the world was coming to a close. It was just horrible. Lasted, thank goodness, only a few seconds before I'd get a miserable hot flash. So that's where I really decided that a lot of moods are chemically induced. And saying that, I realized, yeah, that's why people drink alcohol, to change their mood. But then of course they have the side effects and have to put up with the day after, except they could take a lot of Realign. But anyway, a lot of mood is related to our body's biochemistry. So you can, show appreciation. You can do exercise. Create an exercise regime. Join a pickleball league, which some of my friends here do. Play cards with people one night a week. Create something where you can enjoy other people and laugh and experience some enjoyment, because there is a lot of negative press in the world right now, and we do have to take steps to overcome that. And then taking the nutrients. Let me look at this one one story in the Magnesium Miracle book. I put this story about a customer in the UK who said a very special friend of ours was going through a very bad patch earlier this year. A relative who she was extremely close to was suffering with liver failure, and another relative who had prostate cancer, had just had a test showing a rise in his PSA. My friend said she was suffering from dreadful stress and feeling constantly anxious with a tight pain constantly around her chest. I suggested maybe it would be, and this is our customer saying that she suggested maybe it would be good to try some of the Remag that her husband was taking. I think she thought it would be a waste as it wouldn't change the situation. Fortunately, she did try it, and literally a few days later, she started feeling better. Her chest pains went away, as did her nightly cramps, and the constant feeling of tension lessened to such a degree she felt she could cope once more. She said the Remag really helped her through what was an incredibly stressful situation. And that's what we want. We want support at, at a time when things are falling apart. And we have so many stories like this. Ginny, I dug up Roman's story. Roman first came on our radio show in July 2015, 7 years ago. And most recently, he called into the show August 2019 to say how well he was doing. And at one point, I put it in the Remag book. So at one point, he wrote a testimonial, and here it is. And it is in the Remag book. Dr. Carolyn Dean saved my life. I've had heart arrhythmias since I was 18 years old, along with anxiety and panic attacks. In trying to cope with my anxiety, I suffered depersonalization and vertigo. I have been on many, many medications. At one time, I was on 18 different drugs for heart and panic disorder. They helped some, but the problems never resolved. At 50 years of age, I was put in hospital with heart rate of 200, atrial fibrillation, and supraventricular tachycardia. I was in hospital for 3 days, then released on more beta blockers and anxiety medications. The meds helped somewhat, but did not stop the panic and racing heart, which made it impossible to work in my business, which included unloading my truck full of sound gear for music shows. I was totally disabled from working and racked up huge amounts of debt, going to the ER to treat terrifying high heart rates and the PVCs, AFib, and SVT, the supraventricular tachycardia. I finally found the Magnesium Miracle book online. I read it and followed Dr. Dean's program and started getting some relief. It has been a year now following her program, taking my Remag and Remite in a liter of water, sipping it through the whole day with a quarter teaspoon of Celtic sea salt and another 2 liters of water with a quarter teaspoon of Celtic sea salt to keep hydrated for my weight. The minerals in sea salt and water have made a world of difference. I can now work. I unload and load my truck again with no SVT and very little AFib. It went from having an attack of AFib just walking across the house to almost nothing. Dr. Dean said it could take a full year or more to get back to normal. Boy, was she right. It takes a while to overcome magnesium deficiency completely, but when you start getting your cellular magnesium levels back up, the improvements are unbelievable. The customer service is wonderful. They answered all my questions and were very helpful and helped me through the tough times. Plus, I got to ask Dr. Dean questions on her radio show and more accolades. Thank you, Roman. Okay, so that it looks like that would be 2016 or 2017 that Roman wrote that. So here he was, unemployed, on disability, etc. So by 2018, he'd found a young woman that he married. The next year, he had a child. And now I think his son would be about 3 years old. So, this is a story of what can happen to someone who's suffered. He was 32 years of suffering, but he still held out hope that he could get better, and he did. I think Roman's story is just incredible. Back to you, Ginny.
Yes, absolutely incredible. And I think another great thing that Roman did, as you said, Carolyn, was calling into the show. And that's what we're here for. As David Martinez has so wisely said on the chat line, and David with us tonight from Germany, saying giving people hope is so important, especially in these times, but at all times, people want to have hope. And it is very important that healing is not only physical, but it is emotional. And sometimes the best emotional support you can get is having somebody that you don't even know care about you, like Carolyn, because Carolyn cares about people she doesn't know. And she doesn't need to know you to have permission to be compassionate about your circumstances or something that's really challenging you. And with all the things that impinge on people these days, whether it is the environment or the media or just general malaise or whatever, it's important to feel that sense of inspiration from somebody who actually has the technological know-how to know that your body can recover and your mind can recover and you can actually be well, even in the midst of challenging circumstances. Right, Carolyn?
Right. Very nice. So let me go over these questions. I probably answered most of them. Georgina, age 81, says, I have terrible fatigue. I'm always tired. And she asked, could it be hormones? She says, I have no sense of well-being. Now, I don't know why she'd ask if it's hormones, but I mean, there was a tendency actually a few years ago for some of the alternative medicine doctors to say everybody just needed, bioidentical hormones to perk them up. But the hormones have building blocks, and those building blocks are the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. So with the fatigue picture, of course, we just go right to Remag and get the cells saturated with Remag, but also pretty quickly add the potassium as well. They work together. And I guess I would say to Roman, and Roman gets all our blogs, I'm sure. I hope Roman is taking his potassium because the potassium and magnesium work so well together. And of course, the Realign B vitamins for Georgina, and that will start turning things around. Of course, then you'd look at the Remite because people with slow metabolism, which ends up making them feel they are fatigued. That's the Remite combination to give your thyroid the 9 minerals it needs to make thyroid hormones. Sam says, I have received your recent email regarding magnesium deficiencies and anxiety. I myself have suffered from health anxiety for a period of 6 years. I have recently started taking magnesium both orally and transdermally. Was wondering if you think this would help my anxiety over a period of time. So I don't know what he means by health anxiety. Is that, anxious about symptoms and not knowing. I mean, that could be that he's having some heart arrhythmias and they haven't been diagnosed yet, because that can put people into a panic. And I don't know if he's taking Remag or not. I would, of course, say Remag would be much better absorbed than any other magnesium, and to definitely start there. And certainly magnesium supports the adrenal glands and it relaxes all the muscles in the body. It calms the nerves down. It helps you sleep. So when a person is anxious, like Sam's describing, it keeps you from sleeping and keeps you from, getting that deep restorative sleep that you need to maintain your health. So yeah, absolutely, magnesium is at least where to begin. Diane is saying, I've been suffering from anxiety, ADD, depression, and PTSD for most of my life. It has become debilitating since a recent family member's death. I had genetic testing which stated I have pyrrole syndrome and am undermethylated. The protocol using B6, zinc, and other vitamins starting at 50 milligrams is making me worse. Well, the thing is about so many of the supplements out there, they're synthetic, they do go high dose, and it can stir people up. Diane continues, I no longer tolerate the side effects of Adderall. So she's on Adderall for her ADD, attention deficit disorder. And, but without it, I cannot think. So she can no longer tolerate the side effects of the drug, but without it, she can't think. Could your supplements help me? Um, we can't, diagnose or prescribe, but certainly our supplements help the structure and function of all parts of the body. What we do for people who are on medications and have, this long list of, mental symptoms is refer to TrueHope.com. True Hope is in Canada. And we tell people, be sure to take our Remag and as many of our other products as you can, but you can add the True Hope product called Empower Plus. And what these folks do, they have a good customer service, and they will help a person wean off their medications, because we don't get involved with that. But what people usually do with us is they'll start on our Remag, Remite, Realign, see how they feel. You see, our Realign is a methylated B complex. It will get around this undermethylated situation. And let's look up the pyrrole. I know I learned about that. It's abnormality in hemoglobin synthesis resulting in excretion of pyrrole compound in the urine. It may be associated with mental and physical conditions. Lack of agreement about this in the medical community. So, I mean, this is the backstory in these genetic tests is they'll throw something at you, but then, what do you do about it? If the medical community doesn't agree with what this pyrrole syndrome, pyroluria syndrome is, then what is an individual supposed to do? And I know when I was in practice, we learned about this situation in naturopathic training. And I think it was zinc, giving certain minerals and vitamins that would treat it. But I don't think I've heard about them of late. But with the zinc, we're using zinc in our Remite. We have a Pico Zinc. It's very easy for a person to get their zinc balanced. But let me just continue, because that's a bit of a sidebar. So our products plus TrueHope.com. Brenda's saying, I have anxiety and depression, and I could take something natural with no side effects. If I could take something without side effects, it would be a blessing. So yes, there's our run through of Remag, Remite, Realign, and Pico Potassium for people with anxiety and depression. Of course, there's also the yeast overgrowth, where people with yeast toxins can have irritation of the gut, irritation of the brain. So we're always looking for yeast overgrowth that can be helpful to people to balance their yeast. And for that, we're using our Pico Silver and Flora Revive. And Stacy is saying, I suffer from social anxiety pretty bad, where it is extremely hard and emotionally painful to be out in large groups of people, or even walking along, or maybe she meant alone in my neighborhood. I'm not on any doctor prescribed meds because of the side effects, but I'm currently taking the Remag and I've recently ordered RNA reset drops. I also take magnesium taurate. I'm wondering and hoping you can tell me what of the products I can add to help. Many things. So, I mean, that would be Realign and Pico Potassium. And saying magnesium taurate is interesting. We have taurine, the amino acid taurine in our Realign, but it made me think of the magnesium threonate product. You know, whenever I talk about mood and memory and magnesium, it makes me think of magnesium L-threonate. And that is, let me look at some information on this for you. It's a chelate, which means it's a metal attached to an anion, which is the magnesium. The positive charged anion is magnesium. The negatively charged group is L-threonic acid. Basically, it's magnesium attached to this acid. Magnesium L-threonate is a synthesized form of magnesium that they say can boost cognitive abilities, and it's used to improve memory and reverse brain aging. So, you know, my thoughts on magnesium threonate, which goes by the name Magtine, I started to get information on this after the Magtine people did a rat study. And here's what I wrote about it. Every week I'm asked about this new magnesium L-threonate product, Magtine. Threonate is a sugar acid bound to magnesium. The January 28th, 2010 issue of Neuron published a paper titled Enhancement of Learning and Memory by Elevating Brain Magnesium. This study was done on rats, and researchers said that, quote, our findings suggest that an increase in brain magnesium enhances both short-term synaptic facilitation and long-term potentiation and improves learning and memory functions, end quote. The study compares several different forms of magnesium for absorption into the cerebrospinal fluid and found that Magtine measured only 7% higher at day 24 of intake. They admit that threonate by itself does not have any positive effect on memory. With this 7% increase in cerebrospinal fluid magnesium, promoters of Magtine say that theirs is the only magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier. This is an inaccurate statement. Giving superpowers to their product obscures the reality that any magnesium could produce some or all of these same effects. The treatment of migraine, seizures, stroke, head injuries, and other nervous system problems with even the highly unabsorbed magnesium oxide at 4% shows that all magnesium works at the neuron level, which means all or part of it gets into the brain. See the 24 chapters in the book Magnesium in the Central Nervous System for more evidence. Personally, when I take Magtine, I get the laxative effect, which means to me that it's not fully absorbed at the cellular level like some other forms of magnesium. Well, the only other form is Remag. Then I go on to say 3 capsules of Magtine gives you 144 milligrams of magnesium. I would have to take about 20 capsules a day to meet my magnesium requirements, et cetera, et cetera. And actually, when you look at magnesium L-threonate, a 100 milligram capsule, you'll see that on the front of the bottle. They'll say magnesium threonate 100 milligrams. But then when you look at the back of the label and try to find out the amount of magnesium itself, the elemental amount of magnesium, it's only 8 milligrams. So out of that 100, you think you're getting 100 of magnesium. You're not. You're only getting 8 milligrams of magnesium. And somehow with that, little rat study, they were able to confuse the world and make everybody think that magnesium L-threonate was the only magnesium that gets into the brain. So what do you think of them apples, Ginny?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad.
It
People
is.
are constantly being given hyped up information. You really have to question everything. And then last but not least, Ginny, tell them how Rachel has blossomed into a beautiful lotus flower under our tutelage.
We do love our producer, Rachel. She's a gas and a half, and she's just come. She can unmute herself anytime she wants to come on and say something, or we'll just promote her endlessly. But it's just been fun because she's been with us since last year now. And she just continues to use the formulas and expand her consciousness. She's already a delightful person, and she's got lots of energy, and she's doing things like swinging big what do you call them, logs, and digging ditches and
it's just the magical stuff. That's all it is. It's that magic. It's that RNA drops and pico silver and all the magical stuff that you all put together that kind of like changed my life. It's like I wasn't much of a believer when I first signed up for this gig, but I mean, I'm a believer in nutrition and proper nutrition and stuff. But what a difference in our life so quickly. So many things changed. And it wasn't like I was religiously taking it, because I'm pretty bad at I remember taking every day. Last week I didn't have the vitamin D to my daily vitamin D like I should. So I felt so bad. I think I did like 5 times out of 7 this week.
Well, see, this is what's interesting, Rachel, because most people come to us because they want to feel better. They feel bad. Okay, I'm going to take this. So they have, kind of a positive expectation. You had no expectation. It's like, oh, okay, I
didn't know I needed it. To be honest,
yeah.
I thought, I didn't realize that there was something not quite right. I started taking this stuff, and energy levels coming up, and I'm feeling good about things, and the body's responding better. Heck, it's like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I'm like amazed myself. I look around, I see the mirror, go, oh, that's different.
And do your friends notice any change in you?
Yeah, there's some notices, but I'm I always make sure I have a proper angle when I'm taking any social media pictures. They're not safe.
They don't see the
They're not seeing a clear picture.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. Enough said. I just think it's wonderful because Rachel, to us, her personality just shifted to this bright shining light. It's so
it does change. It does change everything about you. If you get the proper nutrition, it will change everything in your life. I mean, we tend to compartmentalize things, and that's because this happened because of this injury, or because this thing that happened, or because of that. I'm always sticking, and I don't think I'm the only one sticking a sign on it. Well, that's because, this sign is why that's happening, this happening. And the truth appears to be it's just lack of proper nutrition. And all of a sudden, those things, I can take those signs down. There's no reason to put that sign up there anymore. I'm good.
Right. Yeah, looking for a reason. Right.
I didn't need an excuse. I didn't need to brand it or label it or anything else. It just, my body started changing. My spirit started changing. My emotional feelings started changing. Optimistic and enthusiastic.
Yeah. Bought a new motorcycle. Was it?
A couple.
Oh, very sweet. Well, thank you. Thanks for jumping on. We just wanted to out you.
I'll get back to why I'm getting paid the big bucks again. See you later.
Okay. Thanks, Rachel.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Sweet.
Now, on the other end of things, I want to just let you know that Deborah, our radio show owner, actually got stung by a wasp several times. Yeah, she got stung by a wasp in her on her face and on her head. And so she's just asking what would help, and she asked if the Pico Silver would help. She's got that on hand.
Yeah, definitely Pico Silver. And if you happen to have any clay products, if people have clay for face masks or whatever, clay mixed with the Pico Silver just right on the wound can pull out if there's any stinger left, or even any of the toxic material. I think that hopefully you have some clay. What else could you use?
Well, if she had the zinc, she doesn't have zinc. She does have remite, but I wouldn't hesitate to put the remite on there just to use all the minerals to help draw it out. And because you'd have the magnesium in there, and you'd have the zinc, and you'd have the other good things in there, iodine, which would be very helpful. All those things would actually be really good for swelling. So I would do that as well.
Right. Yeah, but we have had people who've told us about fire ants, and they'll spray the Pico Silver on the fire ant area, because that can be terrible. I think what these wasps and fire ants have is like a neurotoxin in their venom, so it goes right to the nerves. So it can be very painful. And if anyone on chat has had experience and we're forgetting something, let us know.
Right. Yeah, you could always use arnica too. We use arnica quite a bit here at the house, but yeah, I think any of those things would be wonderful. Also, eMusic 96785 typed in and said, have there been many calls over the years telling the success of the RNA drops?
Yes, there have been. Yeah, I think in the beginning years, all we had was RNA drops and Realign. So we had a lot of testimonials, and now the other products have kind of swamped them a bit, because we have more science behind our standard vitamins and minerals. So the only quote science we have behind the RNA drops is our radish experiment. So we'll get stories from people who'll say, well, I'm on all your products, and then I did the RNA drops, and then boom, things open up for me. So it comes both ways. Some people start on the drops and some people finish with the drops.
Yep, very good. Yep. And the RNA drops, we definitely say mood stabilizer and just a chill pill. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see what other questions we have on the chat. Now, I haven't even looked at the calls tonight. So if you're on the line and you want to talk to Dr. Dean, 646-558-8657 is the number. And then you've got to hit the ID number, 8836953587, and that's on all ALL of our posts. It's on our social media. It's on the here Dream Vision 7 radio network. It's on your YouTube channel interface. So that number right there, you can use that number to call in, as many people have done. And if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *9 on your keypad and let us know you have a question or comment, and then we'll put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. The other thing, of course, is that you can use the chat line. And of course, our dear Sally always chats in with me on the Dream Vision 7 chat. And then we've got a YouTube chat, which is just full of wonderful, vibrant, vivacious people, including Doug and Alan's back tonight. Diana's back tonight. Liberty Ninja's here. Cheryl. We've got all kinds of people coming in from Iowa tonight, Carolyn. Iowa is well represented from the radio show. And so many others of our good friends. Gwen here tonight, Maria, of course, David from again, our beautiful place in Germany. Heaven Gemini is here. She's also up in Iowa. So we've got lots of great people with us this evening. So again, if you want to talk to Dr. Dean. Now, Carolyn, I'm going to surprise you with something you don't know about. But I have to tell you, the greatest thing happened today. This just tickled me to my core. I was in a meeting with Lisa, our most wonderful Lisa, and we were talking about our Amazon content, and we were skedaddling around looking at little different things that had occurred on our Amazon pages. And a person wrote the best ever review on Amazon, and I have to read it tonight. And this is on our Flora Revive product. And this is from June 3rd of this year. And it's a 5-star review. And it said, for the most outstanding products, know the person behind the product. That's the name of the review. And it says, the person behind the RNA product line has among the most comprehensive healing credentials anywhere. How many people are both a MD and a nutritionist? Just as a start, there's much more, and then add in author of a bunch of books. At some point, full awareness of this person's capabilities and innovativeness, and perhaps they might win the Nobel Prize in chemistry. I wouldn't be surprised, they write. This is a person thinking fully outside the box for brilliant innovations. The only person in a similar outside the box perspective I can think of is Elon Musk. Having recently tried this probiotic, it's the best I've ever used. Other products like Remag and Remite, I religiously use to make my own smart water with.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that is
that
adorable.
awesome?
I know, that is so cute. Oh, yeah, Ginny's always trying to get me to win the Nobel Prize for something or other, but that's adorable. That's amazing.
I'm nominating Carolyn for every prize on the planet except maybe best ice cream scooper or something. So I'm nominating her for all relevant medical awards. We did go through the application for the wonderful Dr. Rogers Prize in Canada. I haven't really talked about this, I don't think, much on the radio show, but it is a prestigious award that's given on behalf of the complementary medical community for people who advance the field of complementary medicine. And that is when you have a natural doctor and a medical doctor integrated into a holistic approach on behalf of their patients. And the award is given a lot for people who do research and are in academia. I couldn't resist nominating Carolyn because she is a Canadian, and she's had a tremendous impact on her country and, of course, the whole world with her products and with her wisdom and her passionate pursuit of public health and public education. So I'm getting ready to post all that information on a webpage so you guys can read the application and also the letters of support that were sent in on her behalf on that. So I have my award pen and pencil ready, and anybody knows any awards, I'm putting her in for all of them. She's going in on all of them. So okay, Susie's typing in on the chat line and saying the amount of Remite, Remag, as well as the other products, should the amount an individual takes be based on their weight? The directions are based for everyone.
What does that mean?
Well, meaning that the directions are the same for everybody. We say start with a 1/4 teaspoon, put it in this water, right, but we don't say for your weight or for your age or anything. Okay.
No, it's got to be for how you feel. It can't be a one size fits all. And with the Remite, they're very low potency. That's why most doctors just either accept them or say, well, that's not much. But because they're absorbed at the cellular level, they will do their job, but you'll never have too much of them. And I do keep the Remite at 1.5 teaspoons kind of overall. Once you work up to that from a 1/4 teaspoon, then half, and then 3/4 in the whole, etc. But you might take 2 teaspoons of Remite if you're on 4 teaspoons of Remag, just to balance out the amounts. And also for people who are really struggling with maybe trying to wean off their thyroid medications, they need a little more help with a bit of extra Remite. So that's why we have such a huge customer service staff, Susie, so we can describe these things to our customers so they get it right for themselves.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Diana Orlando's asking, her son needs a comprehensive metabolic panel blood test. And there are places that you can get those without a doctor's prescription. He doesn't have any medical insurance. So I guess she's trying to just kind of save as many costs as possible.
Mm-hmm. Right. What's our online test? Requestatest.com. They have blood testing. Naturopathic doctors, I mean, the way naturopathic doctors do make their income, at least half of it comes from selling supplements and selling tests. So if you're going to get tests with a naturopathic doctor, they are going to be expensive. But if you kind of know what tests to get, then you can order your own at requestatest.com and then maybe take that to a doctor for some input or analysis. But until Grassroots Health came along, grassrootshealth.org, I think it is, they're collecting information, home finger prick tests, blood tests, and comprehensive questionnaires to try to have correlation between the supplements that a person is taking and how they're feeling and how they improve. You know, you write out your first questionnaire, answer all the questions, and you're feeling this way. And then it turns out your blood tests show low levels of this, that, and the other thing. You do in 3 to 6 months a repeat test, and your blood levels are up and your symptoms are diminishing. So they can correlate that. Nobody's doing that in any aspect, any specialty of medicine. Nobody's doing that. So this is the first time I've got involved with any form of testing, and it did help because we were doing this testing the fall of 2019, and I realized most of our customers, including myself, were low in vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids, and you need those for your immune system. So that's why we jumped into the immune boosting or defense of the body boosting nutrients so quickly, because we had these tests to go by. But I don't necessarily start with I never started with tests, and it was probably because when you look at magnesium, and 80% of known metabolic functions require magnesium, it's like, well, start with magnesium for Pete's sakes, and then add this and that and the other. It did get to the point where now we are adding. Do we have a dozen different distinct formulas now, Ginny? Can we say there are 12, or they're just 10 without the RNA products?
Well, I'm going to count on the break. We've got a break. So I'm going to count on the break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes after we do this station pause.
Awesome.
with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition. Supplemented. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2 live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Monday, August 2nd, 2021. And we're just skedaddling through the year, having a great time, talking to people about health, vitality, well-being. And tonight we're talking about being in a good mood. And it's good that we're all in a good mood because we're talking about being in a good mood. And it probably is because we are following Dr. Dean's incredible wisdom and using these very appropriate formulas that we've got to help support our vitality and well-being. Now, before I say this, Carolyn, I just want to say, if you have listened to the show and have a question or comment and you're listening to our archives, take this information down. Email questions, questions, at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and that will connect you with Melody Rose, and she will get you the answer you need. Because while you're here, of course, live, we can talk to Dr. Dean, but once the recording is in the bag, so to speak, then we have to rely on regular old emails and things like that. So we encourage you to call in during the show. It's one of the best things you can do, talking to Dr. Dean, 646-558-8657. Everybody has a great experience, and you get the answers that you need. Always very helpful and beneficial. So, Carolyn, to resume our conversation at the top of the hour, we have, incredibly enough, 18 different product offerings.
No.
It's true. And I myself was blown away, but listen to what we have. We have Remag, and then we have Remag lotion, and then we have Remite, and we have Recalcia, and we have Pico Silver, Pico Potassium, and Pico Zinc. Then we have Realign. We have our Whole C Reset capsules, which are wonderful. We have our Vitamin C Reset powder, which is really amazing. We have Flora Revive for the yeast overgrowth, and then we have Flora Revive Light, and we've got our D3K2, which is amazing. And I'm just saying, every single person on the face of the earth needs to be taking 2 D3K2 Reset a day. And if for some reason you feel some kind of impediment toward doing that, you need to contact me immediately so I can straighten you out. And then our omega-3 algae A&E. Now, listen, you guys, vitamin A and vitamin D work together. And then also vitamin D requires magnesium. So you've got to see the synergy of all these things. So you don't want to be running around taking vitamin D by itself. And you've got to get the Remag and the vitamin D going. And then you want to just lay that vitamin A and E, because the omegas have the algae A and E in them. And that is there's no omega product out there with A and E in it. That's Dr. Dean's genius. Come on already. Okay. Restructure. We have the drops. We have our glorious Renew face cream and our Renew skin serum. So,
wow. So 15 vitamin and mineral and amino acid formulas, because we have methionine and taurine in the Realign, and 3 RNA formulas. Good grief. Unbelievable.
And actually, Restructure has lysine in it. So that's an amino acid product as well. In addition to being a whole protein, it also has a very complementary amount of lysine in it, which we always forget about until we need it. But lysine is also very important, as we know. So yeah, it's all there. I know it seems like a lot, but you have it on hand and you use it. You've got to have it with you. And we want to encourage everybody to really take advantage of it, because we don't want to be rolling into another cold and flu season with a bunch of super silliness going on. And you've got to have that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just got to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yes. And I apologize, because I just wanted to have like 5, 7 and that to cover everything. But when we hit the immune system, it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. But,
right.
And, I'm happy we have what we have, because it's all, made in the USA. It's all quality controlled up the yin yang. It's all highly absorbed, and it's all stuff that works, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Patrick is asking, our wonderful Patrick Babick. Patrick is saying, I want to ask if I can use the vitamin C reset powder in my water when I fast. Will it interrupt autophagy, or is it better to just fast on the water without the vitamin C powder? And I know, Carolyn, you've been fasting, right?
Yes. I use all the formulas when I'm fasting. That's what makes it work so well. What should I say about it? I think when I first started the intermittent fasting, and then, fasting for 5 days, did my ketos, what is it? My strips, what are we? Ketone strips. Yeah. Uh, I was getting to ketosis even while being on the formulas. And I think it's taking the formulas that keeps my body thinking I don't need food. Because once I pass the first day, I can just go for days and days. And I'll stop when, my body feels I start to get a little shaky, little elevated heart rate when, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just a lack of the fats in the blood that makes my blood feel a little thin or something. But then that's when I stop fasting. But I enjoy it. I think it's a good way to detox, because when your body's not digesting, it is cleaning things out, and you are not losing muscles. I mean, I made the mistake of telling an older friend that I was fasting. Oh no, you'll lose muscle, and you'll surely die. But we know from Jason Fung's work, Dr. Jason Fung, he's a kidney specialist, nephrologist, and he just got so frustrated with his dialysis unit, because kidney doctors just end up putting people on dialysis when their diabetes burns them out. And he said, most of his patients are overweight. So he started writing books about diabetes and fasting, and really getting to the grits and gravy about why people need to just avoid sugar, 100% avoid sugar, which is what gets you into glycemic problems, gets you into diabetes, ruins your vitamin C content. I mean, sugar competes with vitamin C. This is what was amazing to me, and I've written that in a couple of my books, that sugar competes with vitamin C. That's why it's like vitamin C is the antidote to eating sugar. But Bob and I, when with our foster kids and all their friends, when we had our Christmas parties, we would have a table of all the sweets, but right beside it was a bottle of vitamin C for people to take. So, what am I talking about, Ginny? Bring me back. Lasso me. Bring me back home.
You're talking about Dr. Fun encouraging people for intermittent fasting.
Right. So he proved with all of the studies and everything available that when your body goes that 6, 7, 8 hours without eating, that your cells start going into burning ketones and fat and don't need sugar. You start burning off the glycogen, fat, sugar stores first. You burn off the glycogen in your liver. And if you don't have some sort of intermittent fast, you will just keep building and building and building glycogen, which I think is the basis for fatty liver. Everybody's being diagnosed with fatty liver these days. And it's because we never go hungry. We're constantly eating by the clock. I remember when I wrote about this in my Complement Now, my online wellness program. All the modules I had about. Did I have 100 modules? And I titled one of the modules "Liver Snacking." So you're snacking on the storage of glycogen in your liver. You can live off that. But you have to keep hydrated. And I think if you keep the nutrients, then they help you metabolize the glycogen and the ketones, because you do need vitamins and minerals to do those processes. So I think it's, the best thing in the world to take our formulas, because they're simple kind of food-based formulas that you can easily take while you're fasting. And also I take fiber. I take my psyllium powder, maybe 1, even 2 tablespoons a day. I will do coffee enemas as well. So, it's a nice system. Bob and I every once in a while have done the master cleanse, but that's, what is it? The maple syrup, lemon juice, cayenne, water. But I don't even like to do the maple syrup anymore because that's just straight sugar. So glycogen is a substance deposited in bodily tissues as a store of carbohydrates. It's a polysaccharide which forms glucose on hydrolysis, or when you break it down. So yeah, when you're doing intermittent fasting, you break down your glycogen stores first, and then you'll go for your fats. And as your fat cells are being broken down to be metabolized, they will drop toxins. The fat is a great way for the body to store away toxins to keep them out of the bloodstream. But when you're metabolizing those fat cells, the toxins will be released, and you can feel yucky and headachy and all during a fast. Now, I don't feel yucky anymore because I guess I'm pretty clean, but that's where taking your Pico Silver during your fasting is going to help any sort of toxin release. Pico Silver helps neutralize toxins, and so does Remag, and they help eliminate the toxins from the body. As do I'll be taking my Realign. So the methylated Bs help the methylation pathways in the liver, and the sulfur amino acids. The sulfur helps the sulfation detox pathways in the liver. So it's all pretty cool. So didn't expect that answer, did you?
Very good. Outstanding. I'm sure Patrick appreciates it. And I'm just wondering, and I know he fasts, like he asked, do you use the restructure when you're fasting?
Nope, that's food.
Okay, so no restructure, just the others. Very good. Okay, Elma is saying she wants you to know, I take all your products and I love them. You have been helping me so much, and my husband and my daughter. I thank you so much. And Elma is, of course, one of our most wonderful listeners who calls in from Kuwait at 3 o'clock in the morning. God bless her heart.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's such a sweetheart. And Patrick also asks, is it good to skip fruits during the winter with all the sugars to give the liver a break?
It's hard I will never say that. I mean, I live in Maui. You cannot force me to stop fruits. So, I mean, no, I don't think we have to be that fanatic. I mean, you can do an experiment, see if you feel better, but I would just eat the fruit and, just drink your vitamin C reset berry powder through the day and help keep the vitamin C in your cells. I mean, there's a lot going on with sugar that isn't too cool. You can read my book, what's it called? Something Without the Icing.
Sugar Without the Icing.
Sugar Without the Icing. I've written a book about sugar, and you can get a sense of what's going on with sugar, but I think we can balance it. That's why I made the Flora Revive with an antifungal as well as a probiotic, because I no longer wanted to be so strict that I was starving yeast. If I feed yeast with, my fruit here and there, I want to be taking my Flora Revive 1 or maybe 2 capsules a day just to keep it in balance. So I think that's only natural. It's like, people, when they were tuned into nature, they would eat seasonally, and they would be eating antifungal, whatever, barks and leaves and mushrooms or whatever. There would be a balance. There's a tree in Brazil, the Tahibo tree, and it's Tahibo lapacha. So they would know where to go to balance whatever organisms in the body. People were tuned into nature. We aren't anymore. So, you're kind of depending on my 50 years of research to come up with things that will help. And I hope it makes sense. I mean, to me, I just work with common sense.
Right on. Very good. Very good. Now, our dear Diana Orlando, who's been a regular listener for many years, has been absent from the show for these last couple weeks, Carolyn. So she has probably not heard you speak about the vaccine. So she's saying, doctors have asked that I get a vaccine. I'm hesitant. I take your formulas and have a strong immune system. What does Dr. Carolyn think? Since the vaccine doesn't protect against variants, but it does protect against major complications, does a strong immune system negate major complications?
Well, the FDA doesn't want us talking about the vaccines. From what we've been hearing lately, it's really not working. And I've said that from the beginning, that all the decades that they've been creating flu vaccines, when you do a meta-analysis on a flu vaccine, it works 2 to 4% of the time to prevent illness. And what we're currently been given is not even a vaccine. It's an experimental drug. It has not been approved by the FDA. So personally, I'm not taking it. Pretty sure I had COVID late 2019, so I have natural immunity. And even so, statistically, it's what's out there is can be a bad flu. But the people who are most affected are those without a strong immune system, without their vitamin D, without their vitamin C, who have comorbidities. And along with the comorbidities that, 99% of the people who got it badly or died, along with the comorbidities comes medications. And they never say, but they're on a half dozen medications. And that's also going to bring down the immune system. So enough said before I get into trouble.
Yeah, very good. Very, very nice summary. Yes. And I think the medications is also a good part of it. And that's mostly because the people who are subject to that are vitamin D deficient and have, they're on statins and things like that. I mean, there's a big, there's a lot going on there. Okay, Diana, I think you've got the best Dr. Dean answer I've heard on this subject so far. So you rang the bell this evening. Thank you. Okay, Patrick says, thank you so much for the amazing information, Carolyn. He loves it all. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. All right, so let's see. Do we have anybody here on the phone? Oh, by the way, Sally flipped over to the chat line on YouTube, which I think was very charming. So thank you, Sally, for coming over and hanging out with the gang here on YouTube. Okay, who do we have on the line that wants to talk to Dr. Dean? 646-558-8657. You've got to hit *9 on your phone. I will put you on by calling your area code. For example, our next caller will come from area code 641, and I'll ask you to take off your phone by hitting *6 or pressing the blue button on your screen, area code 641. And then I'll put you on with Dr. Dean. Area code 641. You have to hit the blue button or *6 to take your phone off. There you go. Welcome. Okay, come on in.
Hi, Dr. Dean. This is Anita from Iowa.
Hi, Anita. Go ahead with your question, hon.
I've been using, I don't know if you remember me from way back, but I'm still having heart issues with rhythm and been using all your products for probably 4 years now. And I'd switched over even to the D3K2 that you came out with, and I had my D levels checked in April and it was really low, like 30. And in May, I went into atrial flutter again and got stuck in May. Had to have a cardioversion again in June. And I just wondered if you had any other suggestions, because I'm running out of options, and I did start adding potassium on a regular basis and some recalcia. But it's not necessarily always atrial flutter or even I don't think it's atrial fib, but I've been having since the end of 2019 what I call accelerator, where my heart speeds up and then it slows down and then it speeds up, and it does it really often when it gets going. And I just went up and got a cardioversion locally at the Mayo Clinic, and they didn't really do a whole lot of pursuing. My follow-up isn't for a couple weeks. And I think I'm planning to pursue an integrative cardiologist to see if they have any other ideas to do some blood tests and micronutrient tests, stuff like that. But I didn't know, what you would suggest. I've been very healthy. I was shocked when my D level came back at about 30, because I've never had one that low. Yeah, it was really bizarre. So
have you been able to get it up?
I haven't rechecked it. I live in the Midwest.
How much D are you taking?
Well, I was taking the 5,000 a day through the whole winter. Through the whole winter, I did, and after I saw it was low, I started to take a little extra. I was going to take 10,000 for a while, and then I don't know. I remembered you saying once that can affect the heart, and so I thought maybe my heart was getting worse, but it's been a real.
Yeah, it's so hard to say. There's so many things that can affect the heart. How old are you, Anita?
65.
Okay. Have you had a broken heart?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah.
All the people I love got the experimental injection.
Right.
All the people except my husband. Who knows better. That was hard, and I think that affected my heart this spring.
Right.
And I even tried, what's the other biological medicine?
Oh yeah, total biology.
Yeah, I got fired from that person. I got fired from that. He didn't want to work with me. We didn't work, so. And I haven't been able to find either. I'm a homeopath. I haven't found a homeopath to really help me with remedy-wise either. So
right.
But I kind of wanted to know if there's any tweaking, like how much potassium would you recommend? What I've been doing lately is I drink 2 quarts of Remag water. I take 4 teaspoons a day, 2 teaspoons in each quart of Remag. And then I've been adding a teaspoon of potassium to each quart and a half a teaspoon of calcium to each quart.
Right.
And then I take 2 teaspoons of Remite in the morning and add a teaspoon of calcium to that, but I don't think I added potassium.
Well, I mean, personally, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to come out with it. I think you're so empathetic that you've just taken on too much, especially when I asked you about the broken heart, because you're doing everything that you can. You can get your vitamin D levels up. Yes, personally, I'd be taking 10,000 units to try to get my D up to 60. But
what I started to do when summer came back here is I sat out in the sun, and I've gotten a good tan. I don't know if that's brought it up. I'll have it checked probably in a couple of weeks, but not
sure.
I haven't checked yet.
Yeah, that should help.
My youngest just got married and moved across the country, and so there was a lot of stress with that, and good stuff, but still stressful.
Sure. Right.
And so got married across the country, so yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people who are in, in your profession, et cetera, you know a lot, working with our total biology person, you probably gave him the impression that you thought you knew it all or something. I don't know what went on there. I can't imagine. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I guess as I recall, he wanted to do a homeopathic remedy for me, and but he didn't want to tell me what it was. And I played that game with the homeopath years ago, and I was like, I'm just done with that. I won't. I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with that, I said, and so that was kind of like, okay.
Oh, okay. So. Because I don't really send him people to do homeopathy with, especially you being homeopath. But that
right.
all that
I didn't ask. Yeah, I didn't ask for it. He just came up with that. So
right. But let's just look at that though. I mean, what if I hear people doing that when they want to give arsenicum, because they don't. And arsenicum might fit your picture. What do you think?
People do what? I guess I lost you there on the last.
Yeah. Now I don't think he's a licensed homeopath. He certainly knows it, but we were taught in naturopathic school that people who need arsenicum, you don't like to tell them you're going to give them arsenic because it'll freak them out.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Maybe it was something as simple as that. But can you remedy yourself? Can you do your own history?
Do you doctor yourself?
I do. I haven't found anyone who'll take care of me. I have to doctor myself.
Well, it's hard to be objective, and and I have tried, and I've done a few things. Yeah, but I haven't. It's just when you're in the midst of it all, it's hard to. It's more of a feeling of just kind of being stuck, and then being forced back into the medical world and put on blood thinners and all that stuff. It was just kind of like.
I know.
But anyway, yeah, I'm off everything now. I even took. I had never done this. I said I would never do it, but I even took a very low dose beta blocker to help me get through the wedding because my heart was just always going off racing. Even after the cardioversion, it just kept acting up so badly. So
right.
I'm past that. So
right, but look at arsenicum. It's heart and palpitations and kind of restlessness, and I'd say it was arsenicum. So you can say that I'm recommending arsenicum.
Yeah, I've had just about every homeopathy remedy too in the book in the past. So
okay, so there you go. There's the problem. Anything that anyone suggests, you'll say, I've done that, been there. You're not going to give it up. You want to be your own doctor, but you say, I can't be my own doctor. And anything anybody tells me, I'm going to have something to counter it. So who's going to be able to help you, Anita?
Well, I'm still waiting for, I'm open to a homeopath suggesting something from studying my case, but just throwing remedies out there, not so much, I guess, just.
Right.
It's that needing to be understood at that deeper emotional level, I think, is what is going to help.
Right.
Versus just physical symptoms. So.
Yes, because like I said, you're doing all the physical remedies, and homeopathy is more energetic, empathetic and all the rest of it. So, well, all I can say is what you've told me about the amounts you're taking of the Remag, the potassium, the calcium, the Remite, they all seem appropriate.
You don't think I don't need to cut back on any of those?
No, personally, that's what I would be doing if I still had symptoms. But, to get to whatever conflict there is that's driving your heart to try to, to speed up, slow down, to try to take care of the conflict. That's what, that's what you want to either
Address.
work on or, dig up and reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So who's the best kind of person to do that?
Well, our total biology guy that you fired.
I didn't fire. He fired me.
Yeah.
I was willing to keep going, but I just said, I've already played the game of not being told my remedy. That's not something I do to my own clients. I don't want it done to me. And then he fired me. So.
Right. Well, I don't really have anybody else in mind. I mean, there are people in Canada that I've referred to before. I found Dr. Holt. I could send you those names, but that's all I can think of. Because in your homeopathic world, you should know names, right? You should know people.
I mean, as far as not total biology people, but yeah, I mean, I know a lot of. I've talked to a lot of homeopaths. Yeah.
My teacher was Andre Sane. Do you know Andre?
I know the name. I don't know him personally.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty fabulous, but I don't know if he's taking clients. But anyway, I would say Andre Sane for homeopathy. And I think that's about as far as I can go, besides what I shared with you already. Okay. Yeah. But but keep in touch, because something else might come up where we can, where I can be more helpful.
Have you ever heard of that? Somebody where their heart speeds up and slows down back and forth?
Not specifically, but it makes me think of, just somebody in conflict where the mind is like in a gramophone thoughts where, even subconsciously you go through a fear or a cycle of something, and the adrenaline in the adrenals will push the heart a little, and it'll speed up, and then you'll have to relax through that, and then the heart slows down. I just think of it in terms of that, kind of a mental emotional conflict speeding up.
Okay. All right.
Okay for now. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Anita. Bye-bye.
Very good. Very good. Wow. That was a great call, because I think that's a lot of people get stuck and they don't know what to do to move forward. So very good. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see who else is on the line to talk to Dr. Dean tonight. star nine with your phone to let us know if you have a question or comment. Otherwise, we will press on with our most important agenda. We've got about another 20 minutes in the show tonight. Tom wrote in and said, regarding the caller with the heart rhythm speed up, my spouse uses Remag and potassium to her benefit. When she tried to add Recalcia, it excited her heart too much. If she avoids Recalcia, she feels much better. So thank you, Tom, for sharing that. Very, very nice. Very nice. Thank you. All right. And let's see where else. I think everybody else is pretty caught up. Elma, still talking about the products and how successful they've been to protecting her immune system. And Nancy M is on our regular chat line, so I'm going to scoot over there. And she said, I was getting reoccurrent palpitations, then realized I was eating a good lot of foods that lower estrogen levels, cut them back, and the palpitation ceased with adequate Remag, of course. So that's interesting.
Right. I guess, if Anita's still listening, we get people to reread the heart health book to see if something jumps up at them because there are the glutens and the dairy, but Anita has been in the health field probably for a very long time, being a homeopath, so she's probably tried things. But it may be like when we talk about yeast overgrowth and people say, oh yeah, I tried treating yeast and it worked or it didn't work. Well, oftentimes the yeast will come back, and people can benefit from going back and doing another yeast treatment, with the Flora Revive and the Pico Silver. So that could be something. Even sort of gas in the upper abdomen, people who have a lot of burping and gas, that can put pressure up on the heart, put pressure on the diaphragms. So it is a struggle for some people who kind of know too much, who know a lot, and to try to sort that all out. I mean, we try to bring it back to, well, there's yeast overgrowth and there's mineral deficiencies. If you balance those out, then you've got a fighting chance. And then if there's conflict, if there's stress, if you're an empath and you bring on stress, then you have to identify those things and work with them as well. So layers and layers.
Yeah. I remember when I went through my weirdo behavior in 2016, I still have no idea what the heck that was about. Remember, Carolyn?
Mm-hmm.
I had all kinds of heart palpitations, anxiety. That was the most miserable year of my life. And to this day, I don't know what it was. I mean, I took all the formulas and got through it, but that was nutso bobo. And there was no, I mean, it, quote unquote stress, but okay. And of course, what she did say with her emotional stress, I mean, that probably is enough to throw a person off their game that way.
Yeah, the broken heart syndrome, when people feel things in their heart, it's a real condition, having a broken heart, and it is of course stress related. But let me see what they're saying online. Broken heart syndrome, a condition characterized by sudden dysfunction of part of the left ventricle of the heart, accompanied by symptoms resembling those of a heart attack, but occurring in the absence of significant coronary artery disease, typically attributed to stressful events. The condition is usually transient. People with broken heart syndrome often complain of chest pain and shortness of breath. So, that's been identified, but it's because people aren't looking at stress and treating it with magnesium. If as soon as someone has a stressful event, they knew to grab their magnesium and knew it, like decades ago, like in the beginning of time. You think of what Roman went through from age 18 to age 50. If someone told them at 18 that Remac could help, he wouldn't have developed all those symptoms.
Yeah. I remember too, one of our customers who had a very difficult time embracing the fact that it was something as simple as Remag, because they had had so many unsuccessful experiences at such high-end places like the Mayo Clinic and this and that. And when they finally got diagnosed by a doctor who told them it was a magnesium deficiency, they were just mortified. Oh, goodness gracious. Life is fun. It's fun. Well, we certainly know Anita is in the best of care and the best of hands, because she's in a group of people who really are sitting around puzzling, trying to figure out how to make Anita feel better. So hopefully she'll be able to take some of this and use it to her benefit. I'm sure she will, because she's already using the formulas. And as you said, Carolyn, the worst is over, right?
Right. And was it Tom about the recalcia? Yes, it may be that Anita doesn't need that recalcia at all, because that will bump out your magnesium. And I don't know what it does to potassium, but that may be throwing things off. So that was a good suggestion.
Yes, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you. All right, so Carolyn, we've got a few minutes to the top of the hour. We don't have anybody on tap to chitty chat with you, which I think is just woefully inappropriate, but that's the way it is. What shall we talk about?
Well, I do not have any testimonials, and what we usually do when that happens is look at our Amazon.
Yes.
Right. And, people are talking about relief from pain. Someone is talking about caused bad diarrhea, so they took it too fast. Helps me sleep. I'm liking it. It really helps you sleep. And someone saying so far, amazing. Let's read that one.
Let's read that one. Well, I like to go to the, I was on there today. Well, that's where I found my hilariously wonderful Flora Revive testimonial, which I thought was the most precious thing in the whole wide world. The other products have great reviews on them. We always just have a tendency to go to Remag, but now that we remind ourselves we have 1,000 different products, it's fun to go look at the other ones too, because there's a lot of very positive comments about Remite and what it has done for people, and especially with that, thyroid, the thyroid needing those 9 minerals. And David Martinez wrote early in the show in the comments that he loved the thyroid webinar, Carolyn, and that has gotten a lot of great play. People have really enjoyed that.
So I'm just sending you an email. Are you at some of those other reviews you can read out?
Yeah, let me just say this one on Remite. She says, I'm a certified holistic health coach, so wellness and great health is my gig. This liquid collection of minerals is vital to our bodies, and absorption does matter. If you're taking other minerals, but they are not being 100% absorbed, why even bother? There are others out there, but in my humble opinion, this one is the best. It tastes awful, but I put it in some green powder and a bit of water, and it makes it palatable enough to get it down. Other drinks would take the edge off as well, but I don't like the added sugar. For me, I do the minerals and her magnesium at night close to bedtime. The magnesium tastes even worse, but I put it in a spray bottle and spray it on my legs. It's absorbing and being used by my skin. Both of these products are used at the same time, and you get the synergistic effect, and wait until you see how well you sleep. So yeah, exactly. She said, what a difference your health products can make. After taking them for a year, I lost benign uterine fibroid tumors. My cholesterol level is below 200. Now it's 175. And I need half the dosage of my natural thyroid medicine. Hope to be off it soon. You owe it to yourself and your health to try these products and see how they work.
Wow. Right. I have not been looking at, I'm over at the Remite testimonials and the top reviews, amazing results. Now, this person is saying, I've been suffering from atrial fibrillation for about 5 years. I've looked into various medical treatments. I've read Dr. Dean's book, Atrial Fibrillation, Remineralize Your Heart. Bought the Remite, have been taking for about a month. I must tell you, the AFib is significantly better. My main trigger, adrenaline surges, does not seem to put my heart into AFib. Okay. I still get AFib, but the episodes are much shorter. I'm taking minutes instead of an hour or two, and less frequent. If you have any of the health issues in her book, this stuff is amazing and worth trying. So that was after a month. she reported. It's so nice, people writing these reviews. I mean, it's going to be sad when the FDA blocks Amazon from writing reviews, because the FDA doesn't want people knowing that supplements can help the health. Supplements are supposed to be only used by healthy people. That's what they told us recently. So this next one, highly recommended. I'm a cardiac nurse. All products from Carolyn Dean are stated. My AFib has improved 90%, and it's only been 2 months. That's pretty awesome. And someone else, I have some severe nutrient deficiencies due to my thyroid and gallbladder being removed. My naturopath found I was very low on magnesium, so I read the Magnesium Miracle, began taking Remag and Remite. They've helped tremendously with my bodily aches and pains. Also, I just began the keto diet to help my inflammation and insulin resistance, and found that I need to take Remag and Remite 2 to 3 times per day, since keto causes you to shed major water weight. These minerals are making a huge difference in helping me adjust comfortably. I just wish they were more affordable. I know. We would love to give them away, but we're not going to. We can't. So what the Remite testimonials are telling me is that people will use both Remag and Remite. So it's like they say, okay, I'm getting this one mineral in high doses, the Remag, so I think I should take a multiple mineral as well. And that's exactly what we want people to do.
Yes, and then we want them to take Realign, and there's a lot of great reviews on there for Realign. People just appreciating the value that it takes and the sense of well-being. And I do agree with that. Realign does give you a nice little sense of well-being, doesn't? I guess the B vitamins are definitely those stress releasers coming back full circle to mood.
Right. Yeah. So I haven't looked at those testimonials. Yeah, I've been too busy writing books for Ginny.
That's right. Writing books. Hey, you guys, just wait until you guys are going to freak out when you see our men's health book series. Oh, yeah. And Patrick and Alan and you guys should help me. Tell me what should be in it, men's health. We've got great topics so far. We've got a section on mental health. We've got a section on heart health. We've got a section on muscle and fitness, wellness. We've got a section on recovery. And that's not recovery from addiction, but gosh, wouldn't that be a great section? I don't know anybody to do that, but that doesn't mean we couldn't have that. We were thinking more of recovery from
exercise.
No. Michael doing he was in a terrible car accident.
Yes, right.
And how to recover from a dramatic or a traumatic event of that nature. Mm-hmm. So we've got somebody on intermittent fasting. Patrick, you'll love that. And of course, we're going to do testosterone. Of course, we're going to do the things that are important to men. But you guys, if you have a suggestion, email it to me at questions, questions at Dr. Carolyn Dean Live, and let me know what you think would be important to have in there. But we're going to have a great, Dr. Dean's writing a book for men. We're going to have a radio show dedicated to it. We're going to do a webinar. We're going to have fun t-shirts. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. But anyway, you guys, it's going to be super cool and groovy. So give us your feedback and let us know what you'd like to hear about for men's health. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So continuing on, Realign. Someone says, I've been chronically sick for many years and have tried many supplements. This is my top pick of over 50 brands. Dr. Dean and her products have changed my life. I'm so thankful I gave it a shot since I was planning on buying something anyway. Highly recommend. Look at this one. I've only been taking Realign for 2 days, but I can't believe how much better I feel. Just a sense of well-being. I usually get a little bit of this lift with a decent multi-B, but this is significantly better. Isn't that awesome? I've
really?
also been taking the liquid magnesium of this brand, and it's exceptional. That's so cool. No, this is wonderful. I really love Dr. Dean's products. It's too early to tell. I'm also taking her magnesium, which I very much needed. I have methylation issues, and this product is the correct form of vitamin B. That's awesome. That's what we hoped. I mean, you know, I knew I would never put out a synthetic bee. I knew about the food-based bees, but you know, with all the methylation talk, I really knew that I had to put out methylated bees. They were hard to come by, that's for sure. But that's what I was committed to. And that was years ago that I put out the Realign, years and years ago. And I actually, every couple of years, I would update it as the methylated bees or the Saccharomyces yeast grown. There's something weird happened with your microphone, Ginny.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it just goes blah, 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 blah for a few seconds there. One of the dogs probably jumped on you. So, because one of the products, the folate, the quatropolic, it wasn't available to be put in a multiple. The company that patented it would not allow it to be put in a multiple because, see, I wanted to put all the B vitamins together, and I wanted to put in the 2 amino acids. So it's these combinations that really work, as we say the word, synergistically so well to help people get over, you know, what ails them. So there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So Tom said regarding men's health, prostate and bladder health, and Patrick said anti-aging for men. So we will put that on the list of things that are important. And I would imagine anti-aging meaning body, mind, and spirit, Patrick. So if you've got any extrapolation on that, let me know. All right, everybody, we're coming to the end of the show. Thank you so much for being with us. We will be back next week, of course, with more super cool and groovy information. And Diana's saying, Dr. Dean, Ginny, great show as usual. Feels so good to be back with your family again. Thank you for another great program. Thank you, Diana. We're so glad you could make it. Carolyn, your parting words?
Parting words. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Couldn't do it without you.
That's
Could
right.
not do it without you. Right.
That's right. Yeah. Especially since we do everything for you. Otherwise, there would be no us. So it would be weird.
So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. We love Bob. Thank you, Bob.
He yelled out, thank you.
been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.